you've struggled to lose weight your whole life, when you see a low number, you just think, well, that's the number I'm going to have to be on for the rest of my life. And that isn't the case. Like, a calorie deficit or losing weight should always be seen as a season. And for some people, that might be a couple of months. And for some people, that might be a couple of years. But it still should be a season where you go through a period of time where you're in restriction, because that's what a calorie deficit is. It is restriction of what your maintenance calories is. And then going back up to a calorie maintenance. So it is just like the way, and I always try and use this analogy, if you were saving up for a house and the down payment on a house, you would put money aside from your savings every month or from your salary every month until you have enough money to purchase that house. It's the exact same of when you're trying to be in a calorie deficit. You've got your maintenance calories, and you're having to spend less than that to put some away, so your body uses that energy that you've got, which is stored fat, till you get to your goal, and then you can go back up to maintenance calories. Just like the way if you were putting, say, $500 or £500 away out of your salary, you can go back up to your normal salary and spend differently at that point.
Yeah, and it is really important to remember, if you had 500 extra calories a day forever, once you get to your goal, that it's going to feel so easy. And if you've been trying to lose weight for so long, you probably have been trying to eat low calories for a very long time. You probably can't even imagine like having an extra 2,500 calories a week and not gaining weight. So it's sometimes really nice to keep that in the back of your mind. If you're finding it hard to be in a calorie deficit, keep that in the back of your mind. Like, the end game is not to do this forever. Like, for example, my maintenance calories are well over 2,000, like 2,300. That is a lot of food. Whereas if I went on the calorie calculator and I put in I wanted to like lose a bunch of weight before a holiday or something, it would probably tell me to eat like 1,500 calories, maybe a little bit more. If I did that and then went up to 2,300, oh my gosh.
What is that like? 20, it's a huge percentage.
It's
increase.
like a whole extra meal and a dessert.
And
so yes, you are cutting that back whilst you're in this season of fat loss, but just keep that in your sights. So at the end of it, there is an end, and you go back to being able to maintain at a higher amount. And
I think that, like we said, like if you've always gone through these periods of like being on a diet and then like just like reverting back to quote unquote whatever normal is for you, and like being on a diet, like we're talking about like a maintenance calorie intake can feel like really foreign and far away. But like as a principle, like that is where you need to get to. And people who just walk around maintaining the weight that they are all the time, or just found that homeostasis and maintenance phase for them.
So things that you can do to adjust your calorie intake then to create that calorie deficit. Obviously, we've talked about a calorie isn't a calorie, is a calorie. But your food choices do make a really big impact on how easy it is to be in a calorie deficit. Because you could literally just eat less and have smaller portions. And some people do like to do that. They like to just keep the same exact types of food and just eat a little bit less. And if you're eating a generally balanced diet, actually that can work. But if you're not already prioritizing protein and whole foods and high fiber, you're probably going to find you're a bit hungry if you physically just eat less. So we would always say, like, look at having 25 to 30 grams of protein with every meal. So if you're not sure what that looks like, around a palm-sized portion of protein, maybe 1.5 palm sizes is about right for most women with each meal. And looking at your fiber, so veggies, like 2 fistfuls of veggies with each meal, that's just going to really improve your thermic effect of food. So how many calories you're burning each time you eat. And also, you're physically going to be eating quite a lot more food than if you did that old school method of just eat less.
It's if you were to just look at like trying to, like get 25 to 30 grams of protein, veggies and fiber with every meal, like you will just feel full, like a lot more full all the time. So then it just makes the process of like battling hunger a lot easier as you go through the deficit. But we've spoken about this a lot of times. Like if you can get like 80% of the foods that you eat to be from like whole, nutrient dense, minimally processed foods or lean proteins, like you'll naturally just find like your body will just feel more satiated all the time. And we're not the people that you see online that go, you need to eat 100% clean or 100% healthy. We try not to label foods, but having, the majority of your diet come from these types of food sources will just fix so much for so many people when it comes to trying to not just lose weight, but also maintain like a healthy lifestyle. And
the other thing whilst we're talking about that is the kind of missell of low calorie foods, because there's so many things. If you go out there into the shops that are like 100 calorie packet of whatever, and you pick it up and it's like this like lightweight little bag of chips or like dried fruit or something. And you're like, no shit, it's only 100 calories. There's like nothing in there. But if you were to say, go and have an apple and a handful of almonds, I mean, maybe it doesn't sound as exciting as like some salty crisps, but that's going to be 100 calories and it's going to keep you full and it is going to feel more satisfying.
Definitely.
So then there's a whole industry out there trying to sell to you of like low calorie, high protein, all this stuff all over the packaging. But actually, if you just eat whole foods, they are that already.
Yeah, they are. I done that with, I remember ages ago, bought like a Fiber One bars.
Oh, yeah.
And when I got them, it wasn't a bar, it was just like a little square.
A bite.
Yeah, it was like a bite, and then I ate like 5 of them. And I was like, well, that was pointless. You know what I mean? It was just, exactly just got bought into like the low calorie marketing of them. And it would have just been better having something, like you said there, like a piece of fruit and some nuts instead.
Yeah. Okay, so portion control is one option. Looking at the types of food that you eat is another option. The other thing that some people use to help like manage their calorie intake is fasting. So it doesn't work because it's fasting. It works because if you cut a meal out, it's easier to eat less food over the whole course of the day.
It's a strategy that can help some people adhere to the principle, which is calorie deficit. So all you're doing is you're creating a rule, and rules aren't the worst. You know what I mean? Having certain rules, like people probably have them in all different, assets of their life or whatever it is. But like creating a food rule can be useful. It just depends whether it starts to like control you to an extent. So typically people who do fasting will have like 12-8, they start eating at 12, they finish at 8, or they might do 11-7. And it basically means they're like fasting for 16 hours and then they're eating for 8 hours. But again, if you fast for 23 hours and then eat for 1 hour, but eat more calories in that 1 that they rather have like a really larger lunch, like with more calories in, they feel more satiated, and a really large dinner. And that works, for some people who are busy in the morning, rush out. For others, they couldn't think of anything worse.
Did you know we have an award-winning one-on-one coaching program designed especially for women aged over 30 who want to lose between 15 and 60 pounds? Just like this podcast, our Body Smart method cuts through all the BS out there and brings together the latest weight loss science to fast-track your weight loss. So if you want to lose 15 to 60 pounds in the next 6 months, guaranteed, or you don't pay, apply at bodysmartfitness.com.